Life is an interesting experience, sometimes very unpredictable. But that unpredictability can be quite amusing, because that's how I ended up playing Starfield. I remember when it was announced. Everybody was losing their freaking mind watching the reveal trailer. Finally, a new IP from Bethesda. 25 years in the making. And it's gonna be great. Then the gameplay trailer dropped. And it looked cool, but most of these trailers give you these vibes anyway. Then again, given the past experience with Bethesda games, as well as me not being affected by the hype BS anymore, I wasn't really excited about it. So, the game gets released, and I'm basically letting it slide. I'm doing some other things in life. I'll probably pick it up when it's on sales. But then, my friend calls me and says to me, "Yo, I just bought this water-cooled RTX 4090 and I got these two games. I don't really care about them. Do you want them?" And I'm like,
You serious?
"Sure, buddy. Why the hell not?" Turns out, one of them was Starfield. So I'm like, "You sure you don't want to play this game?" And then he said the following. Starfield is what a 55-year-old accountant in a tower company that once saw the original Star Wars thinks what sci-fi games should be. Probably confirmed his idea with a focus group made of homeless people that really wanted the free sandwich. It kinda sounded harsh at that time, but spoiler alert, he was right. And God bless him for giving me the game for free, because if I had to pay, $60, $70, $80 for this crap, I would probably hate myself so much. And I don't really want to experience that again. So where did Starfield go wrong? What were the reasons for its underperformance? Well, we're about to find out. There will be timestamps, so feel free to use them to skip to a section that interests you the most. And before I start, please consider liking and sharing the video and subscribing to the channel. It helps a lot. This is where the cracks start showing almost immediately.
God damn it! Same shit, different day!
First off, let's talk about performance. For a game that was marketed as next-gen flagship RPG, Starfield struggles way more than it should. Even after 2 years, I still frequently experienced unstable frame drops, stuttering, and inconsistent performance. For example, every single time I quick save the game, it freezes for a second or so, and you can easily see it in the footage. Then there are the loading screens. This is one of my biggest complaints. Starfield is absolutely packed with them. It's absurd. Entering buildings, leaving ships, traveling between planets, docking, landing, all of it triggers loading screens. Instead of seamless space exploration, the experience often feels like this. Enter a building, loading screen. Short gameplay segment. Enter another section of building, loading screen again. Now multiply this by 100 and this is basically your experience. This completely kills immersion. I really cannot wrap my head around the fact that devs thought this is actually a good thing. And if you add to this the fragmented map, because it's not seamless like in Skyrim or Fallout, it's so freaking bad. Then there are bugs. It wouldn't be a Bethesda game if there weren't bugs and Bethesda jank, because it's here in full force. NPCs breaking in various ways, animation glitching, characters staring blankly during conversations, physics acting weird, quests failing to trigger correctly. For example, every single time I'm entering or exiting the ship, it's 100% chance that freaking Vasco is going to be stuck somewhere in the ground. I mean, for some strange reason, the whole game gives you the janky feeling. It's so weird and, again, immersion breaking. Next on the list are soft-locking quests, missing objectives, or save files behaving unpredictably. The list with issues goes on and on. I actually thought self-locking quests are over-exaggeration until it happened to me. 60 hours save almost got bricked because during the high price to pay quest, when you need to go back to the lodge from the eye, I was unable to fast travel anywhere. Even going back to my old save, some 20 hours backwards, did nothing because the issue was, so to speak, account-wide. Well, it turns out this issue is 9 years old and was present in Fallout 4. Apparently, the game runs a script to stop you from being able to do something like traveling or shooting during cutscenes, and then the script is supposed to be removed after you're done with all that stuff, but in some cases it doesn't do that. I was actually quite desperate at that moment and I was searching the internet far and wide, and I managed to find a fix, the console commands and all of that stuff that people used in order to fix their game. I think it was somewhere on the Fallout 4 Reddit or something like that, but ironically, since people complain about the engine, the same engine actually helped me fix this. Regardless, what this story is telling me is that Bethesda learned absolutely nothing from their previous titles. Optimization is another sore point. Starfield often feels poorly optimized rather than graphically demanding. The visuals don't always justify the performance hit. You're simply walking across mostly empty terrain, yet the game still struggles. I don't know why this is happening. Is it because of poor optimization or because of creation engine? In fact, to be honest, it doesn't really matter why these things are happening. The point is that they are happening. And they are absolutely disgusting. It shouldn't be a thing. What frustrates me the most is that all of these are familiar issues. Same technical issues Bethesda has had over a decade, if not more, but packaged in a new setting. When you're selling a game as once-in-a-generation space RPG, I pretty much expect you to deliver. I don't wanna hear we'll fix it later. Even if they didn't claim this game is the next level ultra gigached RPG experience bullshit, it would still be appalling to see these things, regardless of whatever they are marketing this game to be. To summarize, Starfield doesn't feel technically broken in one dramatic way. It feels constantly rough, constantly interrupted, and constantly held back by its technology. And I wouldn't blame anyone who would cite this as a sole reason to stop playing altogether.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay?
What a freaking disgrace. I can easily say, if not for mods, the game would be a huge slog I have encountered the first time I was playing. So, the mods are essential, and I have a couple of them that I would like to recommend in order to make your life easier. First one is Easy Digipick. God forbid I engage with that horrendous minigame to unlock stuff. Whoever designed it should be shot. Next one is Perk Up, no skill challenges. This one is also godsend. No longer do you need to perform extremely ridiculous requirements to get the perks you need. I mean, I have to run gazillion times so my oxygen goes to 0 in order to level up my more oxygen skill? In your dreams, pal. I haven't seen this dumb approach to perks in a while. Then we have Instant Scan. Again, another quality of life change. Gone are the days of scanning like a dummy just so you can build greenhouse on a planet. To be honest, there isn't any other reason to scan planets whatsoever. This just makes it much more convenient because you need to scan one planet and then you piss off. Cargo and Storage Max is another amazing mod. Back in the day when the game launched, my outpost looked like a freaking favela. There were containers everywhere, it was horrible. Freaking Skyrim had unlimited storage chests, and all of a sudden they introduced storage limit in Starfield? What an absolute joke. With this mod, you can manage stuff as you see fit. I would like to point out that I'm only using it for Outpost, not for my ship cargo capacity, because in my mind there is no need for that. Finally, Star UI and its extension for Workbench. Again, another quality of life aspect. I can craft as much stuff as I want, with maximum stacks being $9.99 instead of $99. Not to mention the UI looks much better than vanilla stuff. The links for the mods will be in the description, so don't worry about it. Finally, please, for the love of God, use mods. If you decide to buy this and play this, do not play it without mods. You will frustrate yourself so much, it's not worth it. I don't think there is anyone on this planet or even in this galaxy that expects story and writing to be good in a Bethesda game. I mean, sure, there are always outliers and certain aspects in the game are good, but in general, it's just very unlikely that the story will be amazing. And in that sense, unfortunately, Starfield does not disappoint. Main story feels bland and emotionally flat. The core mystery starts with an interesting hook, but instead of escalating it into something powerful or thought-provoking, it quickly settles into a safe, predictable structure. There's very little urgency, very little tension, and almost no emotional payoff. You just finish the main quest and that's about it. Another major issue is tone and identity. Starfield wants to be philosophical, grounded, hopeful, epic, all those things at the same time. But instead of blending these tones, it constantly shifts between them. One moment the game hints at these big existential questions about humanity and the universe, and the next you're running mundane errands that feel completely disconnected from that theme. So the result is a story that never fully commits to what it wants to be. Then there's writing of dialogue. I mean, I didn't expect much, but I still get surprised how bad it can be. A lot of conversations feel stiff, overly polite, and strangely sanitized. NPCs often speak in long, formal sentences that don't sound like real people, especially not people living in a dangerous, fractured spaced future. Emotional moments rarely land because the dialogue doesn't sell them, and the delivery is made worse by flat animations and awkward pauses. Speaking of animations, there is no other way of saying this, but they are immense immersion breakers. It looks to me I'm looking at another Mass Effect Andromeda. Compared to other modern RPGs, character animations feel stiff, outdated, and robotic. Conversations lack emotional weight because NPCs often look lifeless, which makes the writing feel weaker than it actually might be. Then there is the player choice, or should I say the lack of meaningful choices. Starfield presents dialogue options and moral decisions, but many of them lead to the same outcome. Choices often feel cosmetic rather than consequential. You would expect branching paths, faction conflicts, and decisions that meaningfully reshape the story. Instead, most choices barely ripple beyond the immediate conversation. To be honest, all these choices or lack thereof, to me feels like a wet fart. There is nothing else that I can compare the player choices in this game other than what I already said. Speaking of factions, this is one of the biggest missed opportunity. Starfield introduces multiple factions with strong concepts, but their writing often feels surface level. Conflicts are resolved too cleanly, characters are rarely challenged in uncomfortable ways, and major political or ideological tensions are glossed over. You can be a member of almost all the factions without any drawbacks. And at this point, I'm just collecting them like gym badges in Pokemon games. Now let's talk about companions. In my mind, they are very mid. I would argue most of them are forgettable or interchangeable. They often share similar moral viewpoints, react the same way to your actions, and lack the strong personalities or ideological clashes that made companions in past RPGs memorable. This makes the crew feel less like a group of individuals and more like extensions to the same voice. You have that Andreja woman with weird Eastern European accent, then there is the black gay boy, whatever his name is, I forgot immediately. Then there is Sarah, who is a bit dumb, given her personal quest. And finally, there is the space cowboy Adam Jensen. Basically, you only take them with you because of their personal quests, so you can hear unique lines, for example. And you let them squat on your ship because they have the best stats when it comes to ship combat. And that's pretty much it. I really don't care about them at all. Even Sarah, who is my wife in the game, is completely irrelevant. I got married just because I could, not because I wanted to. Essentially, just another box to tick and move onwards. Finally, there is the issue of risk aversion. Starfield's writing plays things extremely safe. It avoids controversial themes, moral ambiguity, or hard consequences. Nothing feels bold, nothing feels dangerous. And in a setting as vast as space, that safety makes the universe feel relatively small. Again, I didn't expect miracles when it comes to Bethesda storytelling or character development or any of these things that I mentioned before. I mean, I have the experience from Skyrim and Fallouts and all the stuff that they made before they released Starfield. But it seems to me that they are somehow stuck with these same tropes non-stop, even when the majority of people who are playing their games are clearly indicating there is something wrong with the way that the writing is done and the story and all that stuff. This just vexes me. I cannot explain why is this happening. Is it because they are stuck on this high pedestal thinking that they are the best and they are pushing their philosophy no matter what? I don't know. All I know is that we got another below average story and characters, and that's the saddest part of it all. Right, now let's talk about certain gameplay aspects of this game. The very first thing I have noticed when I played the game on launch and now was the introduction of town maps. I was actually shocked that this feature was not included from day one. Freaking Skyrim had local maps for every single interior or bigger town for that matter. This just tells me something is horribly wrong in Bethesda. Naturally, they introduced the maps back, but my god, did you really have to put yourself in a situation so people actually have to beg you to put stuff that was always available in your older games as a gameplay feature? What the hell, man? The other new thing that you see immediately is the rover. Previously, you were going on foot from one point of interest to the other. Boring as hell. Then, Bethesda gave us the rover. I don't know why. Is it because the community begged them to do it? Essentially, it's irrelevant. The point is, the rover is clunky, floaty, and awkward to control. It doesn't feel responsive or satisfying to drive, especially across uneven terrain. It often feels like I'm wrestling with physics engine. But you know what's funny? There is no real incentive to explore the planets. On paper, exploring hundreds of planets sounds incredible. In practice, however, it's mostly empty terrain filled with copy-paste points of interest. So even if you have the rover now, the core issue still persists. I guess rover is just there to help you slog faster through the boredom. As far as I can say, the only reason why you should fully explore a planet to begin with is to make a greenhouse or animal husbandry. And that's about it. By the way, very short-sighted that you cannot make a greenhouse on any planet you want. It would be so nice that you take seeds or small animals and put them in a cargo hold and then transport them back and forth and all that good stuff. But no, why would we ever do that? Anyway, back to the exploration thing. Planets are still mostly empty, points of interest are still repetitive. That's pretty much what's the situation here. I mean, there is a pretty decent number of points of interest, so I guess that's a good thing. But more often than not, I usually end up seeing the same ones all over again, so there might be an issue with variation. I don't know. Regardless, with the rover, instead of walking for 10 minutes, now you're driving for 3. Again, the core issue, which is the lack of meaningful content, didn't vanish. It's still there. The only reason to visit POIs is by taking a Radiant quest from terminals. And that's basically what you do. Cargo line management is still clunky. Linking everything for the first time is not that bad, but later on it's just tedious, particularly if you want to create some kind of a advanced automation hub. If only there was some kind of a console or whatever that you can access to check links and all that stuff. Like a centralized point. But there isn't one. To be fair, I can just travel around, collect everything I need instead of waiting for the transporters to bring my stuff to main base. Also, sometimes links flat out don't work. The storage container that links your ship with the outpost has a mind of its own and sometimes does what you tell it to do, but sometimes it doesn't. Another ongoing issue is my ship not being able to land on that big-ass landing pad that I make for every outpost. Instead, it yeets me away from the outpost except for the one that I designated to be my main base. Speaking of outposts, they rarely feel meaningful to the rest of the game. Crafting doesn't significantly impact combat or exploration unless you fully commit. I don't think most people will do that because the payoff isn't worth the effort. Funny thing about crafting, it's the best way to level in this game. You just keep making adaptive frames to no end. Pick a planet with a lot of aluminum and iron, preferably with lots of nodes, stack 10 extractors, sleep 24 hours and you win. I myself am using this process and it helps me a lot because if you want to invest into perks, you really need to exploit the crafting system to no end. I did some calculations, and in order to have all the perks you would need to fully experience the game, you would have to be level 150 or something like that. Ground combat is okay, I guess. Shooting feels serviceable but stiff. Enemy AI is still inconsistent, sometimes aggressive, sometimes completely brain dead. Space combat is also okay, but later on with automatic turrets, it's just meh. Sure, you can use normal weapons, but why would you gimp yourself on purpose? It makes no sense. Starborn powers, or whatever they are called, are still mediocre at best. I mostly use personal atmosphere and that's about it. The animation for getting them in the temples is still stupid, but there is a mod that can mend that. Also, the utility of them, as in the frequency of you using them for combat situation, is very mediocre. It's easier to smack everything with the gun and use the powers for utility purposes if you remember you have them. They just don't have that much of an impact. Economy is dumb because you can easily exploit it, and as far as items go, weapons and gear scale strangely and rewards often feel underwhelming. The game inherited that stupid legendary item and weapon system from Fallout 4, so that means that legendary items don't feel truly special. It's all about dishing out ungodly damage numbers. You frequently get quest rewards that are instantly worse than what you already have, which makes progression feel hollow. It's all about RNG giving you an amazing weapon, and it sucks. New Game Plus gives nothing in terms of new dialogue options in order to circumvent certain quests. It's such a letdown. For example, it would be so cool to tell Hadrian about her dad immediately, and then to prove you are speaking the truth, you sneak to Londinium, grab that plant sample and showcase how them nasty boys are being made, or rather how the leeches are being transformed. But again, there is no such thing in this game. Or another example, I could simply steal all the tech for the Crimson Fleet that you need to mod the ship and then get to the legacy by yourself. I mean, this is such a wasted opportunity. It's so clear to me that this was conceptualized as a way to play this game more than the game deserves to be played, but it falls flat since, again, it wasn't fleshed out properly, like most of the things in this game. Do not play New Game Plus. It is not worth it. If you want to see all the variations that you can encounter while visiting the lodge, go on YouTube and check them out. Fact being, just forget New Game Plus exists. It will save you from pointless potential playthroughs. Now, contrary to popular belief, there are some good things in this game. The game looks good, ship building and customization is very good, and sound design is on point. But that's about it really as far as I'm concerned. There are just too many badly designed systems, and the result is basically what you see. I don't think this game can ever be fixed in a way that, for example, Cyberpunk was fixed with patch 2.0, because it would need a huge overhaul of almost all systems. I mean, you can hope, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't expect much. When it comes to the DLC content, New Trekkers Alliance paid quest is a complete disaster. People have reported on this so many times. I would like to say that, as far as I'm concerned, Bethesda should be ashamed of themselves. Then again, shame isn't something that they really know, because if that were the case, they wouldn't do stupid shit like this. On top of that, certain mechanics are really bad. For example, the RNG Astra trading system. It would be good if the game actually gave me top-of-the-line stuff, instead of giving me a level 150 character, calibrated weapon, whereas I'm finding advanced stuff all over the place. I mean, you can save scum till you find a good weapon with decent legendary affixes, but I really don't want to go through that. I did try, but it was pointless, because it's way too long, boring, and tedious. Also, there are far better ways to farm legendary weapons, so for me, that's just a bad design. Then there is the Shattered Space DLC. And you know what's funny? I have it, but I don't even want to play it. I have zero desire to complete it. I mean, why bother? The story is definitely going to be disappointing, and judging by the Steam reviews, it seems that I'm right. The DLC doesn't fix any of the core issues, the price is outrageous, and it doesn't introduce significant new gameplay systems or ship upgrades. Basically, it's just more Starfield with all the BS it has, and I really don't want to subject myself to this game more than I should. I mean, I am crazy as is. I have 250 hours in it. I really don't need more. I could go on and on about issues with this game to a great detail, and this video would be probably 1 hour long or something like that. But then, what's the point? There isn't any. What I want to say at the end of this video is this. If you want to play this game, make sure you play it with mods and make sure you buy it on sales. God bless modders and shame on Bethesda for waiting for modders to fix the game, or even worse, shame on Bethesda not noticing these blatant issues during the development process. In the end, Starfield's gameplay isn't outright broken. It's dull, fragmented, and lacks depth. And when a game this massive fails to make playing it consistently fun, no amount of scale can save it. As my final remark, I'd like to say the following. May God help Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5, because I don't know who else can. Certainly not Bethesda, and I wish they will prove me wrong, but I don't have a lot of hope. Let me know in the comments what you think about Starfield. Do you agree with me, or you think I'm wrong? What are your impressions about it? Comment section is here for a reason. I read all of your comments and I'm very happy to interact with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking the video and subscribing for more discussions like this. That's it from me, until the next one.